Benito Juárez.
Go on, buddy.
Go ahead.
Go up there, buddy. There you go.
Our September student of the month, we did want to recognize them for September, fourth grader, Angelo. His teachers all agree that he is an excellent student. He attends school daily and follows all classroom rules and procedures. Ms. Castillo stated that he is hardworking and respectful towards others. Ms. Flores mentioned he always asks relevant questions. Ms. Izquierdo shared that he follows directions very well and completes all assigned tasks. Congratulations and thank you, Angelo, for being a dedicated Benito Juárez Elementary student.
Y'all want to move over because now the glare from the background. Oh, okay. Yeah, in front of the podium.
In front of the podium.
All right, thank you.
Is parents here?
Parents?
Stay over there. Another picture. There you go.
Certificate.
You got it over here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, move over this way. Ready?
Thank you.
Congratulations.
With our September teacher of the wonderful fourth grade math teacher, she's extremely patient and maintains a peaceful and productive learning environment. She always takes the time to help her colleagues and goes beyond in sharing her knowledge and successful practices in the classroom. We thank Mrs. Guerrero for her dedication to helping our students advance and succeed.
Good job, man.
And Bobby Joe? It's 14 for Ms. Melissa.
Excuse me?
614. Thank you, ma'am.
Right here, ma'am.
Bobby Joe Espinosa is a fourth grade student at Benito Juárez Elementary. Bobby Joe's teachers say he is a very good student that loves to participate. He is an excellent student in the classroom. He is empathetic and cares about all of his classmates and teachers and staff at Benito Juárez Elementary. Ms. Araceli Castillo, his homeroom teacher, says Bobby Joe is a perfect example of a student that helps promote positive school culture. Thank you, Bobby Joe. Here comes and hold it up like this. Yay! Thank you.
Good job, Bobby. Yeah, away from the screen. Yay, good job.
Our October teacher of the month for Benito Juárez is Mr. Juan Carlos Garza. Mr. Garza is a great asset to the Benito Juárez Elementary campus. He is quick to ask for clarification and soaks up knowledge at every opportunity. Mr. Garza is detailed, thorough, and patient. He sets high expectations for all his students and is focused on closing the learning gap for each one. He's not out there.
Mr. Garza?
I didn't see him.
No?
Mr. Garza?
Oh,
No.
Okay,
he said he was gonna try to make it. He didn't make it. Thank you.
thank you.
Mr. Alvarado?
You ready?
Can I get my student
Sure.
one time?
Yes, Mr. Alvarado?
I don't know, they're We're in cheer practice, both of them. What's up, Alyssa?
Huh?
Come on, Alyssa. Student of the month, we have Ms. Calissa Alma. For the month of October, she is the daughter of Cassandra Gonzalez and Pete Alba. Calissa is an 8th grader and starting age 5 junior high. She participates in volleyball, cheer, and track. Her favorite subject is athletics. Her hobbies include cheer, visiting with her friends, and making TikTok videos. Calissa's future goals are to attend a good university and become a nurse. Mr. Alvarado and the rest of the Mighty Mustang staff are extremely proud of Calissa, and congratulations. Let's get closer so they can see closer.
Ready?
It's kind of weird because Calissa acts shy, but then she does our morning announcements. She's the captain cheer.
All right.
So, it's, and her coach for
618.
cheer and volleyball, Miss Deanna Guzman. Congratulations to Ms. Deanna Guzman. She is the starting age 5 teacher of the month. Ms. Guzman graduated from Southwest Texas Junior College and Sul Ross State University with a Bachelor's of Arts in Interdisciplinary Studies. Ms. Guzman is currently working on her master's and is expected to graduate in December. When asked why she became a teacher, Ms. Guzman said, "I was inspired to become a teacher when I was in 6th grade by Ms. Gloria Rodriguez. She sparked my interest. You can tell that she truly loved what she did, and she truly loved her students. She will forever be one of my favorite role models. I can only hope to become half the teacher she was. I want to impact my students' lives just as much as she has left an impact in mine. Another reason why I became a teacher is because I love watching my students get confused." Okay, hold on. It's because it's kind of small. Hold on. Let me get it. Because confused with a new concept that are and then out of nowhere they have this aha moment. It is very rewarding. Ms. Guzman would like for her students to know that they teach her and impact her in more ways than she could ever teach them and impact their lives. For that, she is pretty great. Also, when Ms. Guzman, anytime I ask something, "Hey, staff, I need a cheer sponsor," I'll do it. Last night I asked, "Let's get the student council going." Before I send out the first message, Ms. Guzman, "I'll do it." So anything that I ask, Ms. Guzman's always okay.
Sir, how did you get it back from the park?
Huh?
How did you?
I work my magic because I called her up. I call her up and I say, "Hey, what are you up to?" And she's like, "I'm actually in an interview on the way to the Pirates for an interview today." I said, "Don't go to the interview." She was with us last year, and for whatever reasons, she was on a teeter-totter balance, but I always told her since, and I'm not lying, right? I told her the second I can get you back on, we'll get you back on. And sure enough, it was just that luck of the draw that day that I called her just in time.
Like literally right before.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I can go, I don't think my student's gonna make it. I mean, they
Okay, let's
called
go high
and they
school.
said,
High school?
We'll go high school.
okay.
Yeah. So our student of the month is Xavier Fuentes. He wasn't able to be here with us today, but he was selected by his teachers because his teacher said that he's demonstrated great leadership skills. He's a senior this year, and all that know him from freshman year have said that he's grown so much and just epitomizes what we would want from a high school student. Persistent, does his best to get good grades, is a great teammate, great classmate. So because of that, Xavier Fuentes was chosen to be our student of the month. For our teacher of the month, the staff chose Moises Ibarra. Mr. Ibarra is just a wonderful teacher. He was chosen because many different things. One that comes to mind is that you can tell he loves to teach. That comes through every single day. He's so passionate with his instruction and helping others to improve as well. They come to him for support, and he's a great mentor. Also demonstrates leadership skills, and the team said that they just see him as a great role model for the rest of the staff. So for that reason, he was chosen as our teacher of the month.
So I'm sad my student of the month didn't make it, but it's okay. We can still praise her. Marcela Compian is working. She's a third grade teacher. She's working incredibly hard in third grade. She is a student that is eager to learn and is respectful towards all peers and staff. Marcela is polite and has a big heart that cares for many. She is a model student that exhibits good character qualities that we strive to see in the classroom. She values the safety of our campus. She is focused, follows directions, and listens intently. Keep up the good work, Marcela. And our teacher of the month is Michelle Nanez. Michelle Nanez is new to our district. She has shown great leadership qualities. She takes initiative on every task. She always has a positive attitude and embraces the needs of our campus. Mrs. Nanez is always willing to put forth the extra effort to ensure that all students experience academic success. Welcome to LDZ, Mrs. Nanez.
Ready? Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
I knew she was a good one, right, Lasagna?
I know, you're the first one. I went down the list, you too.
All right, thank y'all principals for the presentations. All right, moving on to number 6, consent items, action items. A, considered approved for the minutes for the September 14th, 2021 regular, September 18th, 2021 special, and 22nd special board meeting. And of course, B, considered to approve the monthly bills for September 2021. Ms. Briones?
The recommendation is that the Board of Trustees approve the consent action items as per the attached individual recommendations under consent. And I believe that you all received the corrected official minutes.
Yes, ma'am.
I motion that we approve them.
You want to do A and B, sir? Just A for now? Both?
Yes.
I was gonna say that let's go ahead and take them separate, to make sure that it is recorded in the minutes that the correction
Let's
is
go with A first.
I'll go with A.
All right, I got a motion by Mr. Espinosa.
second.
I got a second by Mr. Bonilla.
That's with the corrections.
Correct.
Any comments or questions? All in favor, please raise your hand. Motion passes 6-0.
I'll go for B.
I got a motion by Mr. Espinosa for item B.
I'll second.
I got a second by Ms. Nora Guerrero. Any comments or questions? All in favor, please raise your hand. Motion passes 6-0. All right, 7 action items. A, discussion and possible action to approve the district improvement plan for the 2021-2022 school year. Ms. Briones?
So the district improvement plan is a living document. It is forever changing.
What you see right now is reflective of the needs assessment that we conducted last week. We did it at the district level, we did it also at the campus level. So the recommendation is that the Board of Trustees approve the district improvement plan for the 21-22 school year as presented.
Any changes were done to this recently?
Yes, they're reflective of the needs assessment that we just conducted, but it's, some of the goals are carryover goals from last year. Simply because under COVID, we were not able to execute a lot of the initiatives to the extent that were intended, but the work is continuing work. Very few new initiatives.
Nevertheless, who put it together?
Who put it together? It was the cabinet.
Not the district government.
For the district improvement plan, it's the cabinet.
My recommendation
Is to approve the district improvement plan for the 21-22 school year as presented.
a motion.
I got a motion by Mr. Espinosa.
I'll second.
I got a second by Ms. Melissa Guerrero. Any comments or questions?
I have a couple of.
Go ahead.
How are we going to hold the personnel accountable in implementing the school improvement plan for each campus? How is that going to work?
So what we do is that you're talking about the campus improvement plans.
Yeah.
Okay, so we take a look at their campus improvement plans, the initiatives that have been set out for the campus. We meet on a regular basis. We should be meeting on a quarterly basis to determine whether or not the campus is making progress towards the very specific goals. And then we take into consideration the performance objectives. So if the campuses have indicated that 70% of the students are going to be successful in reading and or math, then we go back and take a look at the performance objective to see how far they are from the measure. If they are delayed in growth, then we go back and look at the strategies that they selected. And if there are modifications and or revisions that need to be made to the strategies, we have to go back and do that. So that's why these are living documents, because we have to make adjustments as the need arises.
Okay, so data will be provided?
Yes, data is provided. So right now, as far as beginning of the year data is concerned, the campuses are finishing their iStation reading and math. It's going to be our baseline data. That data, principals have been informed that data will be presented in November so that you all are aware of where we are starting the year.
Okay, and another question is on the, say, persons responsible.
Mm-hmm.
Who does the selection for that?
So depending on the activity and or the strategy, we select. So what we notice in this is a document in DMAC, there are not the people responsible. All of the positions are not listed. So we were limited to very specific positions, but it should have, like, you know, anything that falls under title or ESSERS, it should be me, but the option for federal programs director was not there. So we just listed the superintendent in almost all of them. And the same thing happened for special ed.
For example, let's look at page 15 on the document. I'm just gonna pick number 2. Research select intervention resources designed to support students in SPAD with an identified or demonstrated need. You know, they say counselor, instructional facilitator, lead teacher, principal, special ed teachers. Should it? The special education director be included there?
Yes, and so that's what I'm suggesting.
Okay, so
is that in our people responsible option section of this platform did not give us the option of special education. So we have to go back to Region 20 to see why it's not giving us that option. So that's why we wrote superintendent in almost all of them, but we know we're responsible for these. Okay. So Ms. Sendejo knows that she's responsible for almost all the strategies on this page.
Any other questions? All in favor to approve the district improvement plan, please raise your hand. Motion passes 6-0. All right, B, discussion and possible action to approve the campus improvement plan goals and objectives for the 2021 and 2022 school year, including for Dr. Tomás Rivera Elementary, Lorenzo de Zavala Elementary, Benito Juárez Elementary, Sterling H. High Junior High, and CrystalCity High School.
Different from the district improvement plan, what you are considering approving this evening for the campuses are only the goals and objectives. Those are the only two items that are required to be approved by the board. So you'll see that the work that they submitted is different from our plan. However, they each have a campus improvement plan. So what is up for approval tonight are the campus goals and the objectives to meet those goals by campus.
Any recommendation?
The recommendation is that the Board of Trustees approve the campus improvement plan's goals and objectives for the 21-22 school year as presented for Dr. Tomas Rivera Elementary, Lorenzo de Zavala Elementary, Benito Juarez Elementary, Sterling H. Fly Junior High School, and Crystal City High School.
A motion.
Motion by Mr. Espinosa. Got a second by Ms. Nora Guerrero. Any comments or questions? All in favor, please raise your hand. Motion passes 6-0. All right, letter C, discussion possible action to approve resolution to nominate candidates for the positions on the Zavala County Appraisal District Board of Directors for the term January 2022 through December 2023.
The recommendation is that the Board of Trustees approve resolution to nominate candidates for the positions on the Zavala County Appraisal District Board of Directors for the term January 2022 to December 2023. And the Board of Trustees nominates, and you all have to make your nominations.
And the school district has 3.
Correct.
I nominate Mr. Espinosa.
What?
I second.
But you need to name.
All three of them at the same
Aren't you
time?
3 in there?
Yes, no Reyes.
Remember, did my term already expire?
It's gonna expire this,
Not yet.
It's gonna expire
you wanna go another round?
And this coming January?
31st it expires.
You want to continue?
Yes.
I nominate Ms. Well, hold on. Did you nominate?
Ray,
Espinosa, did you want to accept, sir?
I'll go ahead and accept.
All right, I got a nomination by Melissa, second by, you second Melissa's?
No, we need one more.
No, but we have.
we have to nominate
Somebody
Victor.
else.
We have to nominate, no, I'm getting, I want,
I nominate Mr. Bonilla, so we good with that?
I second Mr. Bonilla.
Okay.
But you're saying you don't want to be,
No, I'll nominate Mr. Mata too, or you wanna be it?
No, I don't.
Mr. Mata, I nominate Mr. Mata.
I second Mr. Mata.
Okay, so everybody has a second already.
All right, so all in favor to nominate Mr. Bonilla, Mr. Mata, and
Espinosa.
Mr. Espinosa, raise your hand, please. Motion passes 6-0. Congratulations, gentlemen.
you guys meet every 6 weeks, 6 months.
That's what they told me about the school board. Didn't turn out that way. No, yeah, now it is like every 3 months, but for a while there, we're meeting quarterly. Like every 3 months.
All right, moving on, letter D. Discussion possible action to approve the Uvalde Regional Day School Program for the Deaf interlocal agreement. Ms. Vidonis?
That the Board of Trustees approve the Uvalde Regional Day School Program for the Deaf Cooperative interlocal agreement as presented.
I move.
Recommendation.
Yes.
Second.
Second. Motion by Ms. Melissa Guerrero. Second by Ms. Nora Guerrero. Any comments, questions?
I have a question.
Go ahead, sir.
Do we have deaf students?
Yes.
And a student, even if we didn't, we'd have to, because we could have a student transfer in here with a hearing disability.
You gotta have it automatically.
This is an agreement, an interlocal agreement between CrystalCity ISD and Uvalde Regional Day School for the Deaf. And the purpose of the agreement is to serve students that have a hearing impairment. So we get 2 teachers from the Regional Day School for the Deaf that visit our students here locally and provide services depending on their IEP. There are 8 local districts, surrounding districts that participate in the Uvalde Regional Day School for the Deaf. Crystal City, Carrizo, Eagle Pass, Uvalde, Hondo, Cotula, Dilley, and going around geographically, and Dilley. And so, yeah.
And do we have ahorita any students?
I'm sorry?
Do we have any students?
Yes, we do. And some receive direct services and some receive consult. Yes, they do. We do.
Have anybody attending Uvalde or the teachers?
No, not this year. They're coming here to provide the services. So if approved by the board, I would need the board president to sign the agreement so that I could submit to Uvalde.
Thank you.
So who evaluates how do we know that they're doing what they need to do? Who keeps an eye on them?
The fiscal agent is Uvalde, and that would be Victor Barron. But we meet once in the spring, once in the fall, and once in the spring.
You meet with them?
Yes, I just had a meeting with them last week.
And basically you all do an IP on them.
No, we develop.
Oh, you develop the IP.
And they evaluate our students,
and
and
that's-
we're the holders of the IEPs.
So they follow the IP.
It's hard to find deaf ed teachers.
Oh, yes.
So that's why we share, and that's part of this agreement, the purpose of this agreement. Any other questions?
Ma'am, any other questions?
Thank you.
All right, all in favor, please raise your hand. Motion passes 6-0. All right, letter E, discussion and possible action to accept a donation from the parents of Crystal City High School students. Ms. Vidonis?
And so before I make my recommendation, I believe Ms. Carlos presented you all with a copy of an email that I received from Mr. Morales, attorney for the district. This actually has not happened. If you all have had the chance to read this email, but I'll bring you up to speed with what's going on or what happened. We had a fundraiser at high school. It was a fundraising activity that had not received pre-approval from the district office, which is a requirement. There were not proper guidelines established for the fundraising of funds for Mr. and Ms. Javelina. And so parents took it upon themselves to raise money, to raise their funds. Unfortunately for us, for the district, we learned that some of the activities that were being utilized to raise money were activities that the district would not have approved had we known about them up front. And so I canceled the Mr. and Ms. Event, and not the event, we canceled the fundraising activity part of it. Ms. Urrabazo did notify the parents, did meet with the students. The parents understood, not that they were in agreement, but they understood why it had been canceled. The student event happened. We will have a Mr. and Ms. They will be coordinated during the Crystal Carrizo game. And so we'll allow them all of the time that we've allowed the homecoming court. And so the question arose from the parents then is, what do we do with all this money that we have raised? And so the implication here is that it came to our attention that some of the monies were raised in ways that would be frowned upon if the district collected the money. And so the letter that you all have, the email details that some of the activities would not be considered appropriate. However, what the attorneys are saying is that if the parents would like to gift the fundraising money to the district, they may be able to do so. The district may receive the funding, but we're not obligated to receive it, and the parents are not obligated to donate it. And so the reason why we have this item on the agenda is if the parents choose to donate the funds, because the district at this point is not accepting the collection of the fundraising money because of the illicit activity. The board then would have to decide on whether or not you all would want to accept the fundraising money as a gift. Because at this point, we're not.
And if we accept it, I mean, where account will it be placed?
So at this point, we're looking, and we went back and forth with Mrs. Urrabazo last week, and essentially with the gifting of the money, high school would not be held accountable for the illicit activities. I mean, they're not, the fundraising activities were not approved by the campus administrator. So what we were proposing is if the parents were to donate the money, we could then take the money and use it for scholarship purposes.
That'd be good.
If the parents gift the money, not that we have been told that they will, but if they should want to, the board would have to accept the money. Because we can't, the district can't.
Ms. Briones, I don't know, read somewhere or somebody told me that one of the contestants wanted to donate money to each of the class.
To each of the what?
To each of the class. the class, but I don't know if they ran it through you or.
No, they have not. And so unless, and this is something, it's a conversation that we've had with Mr. Ravazo, is that they have to, the classes, the groups, the clubs, the sponsors need to run every activity, the purpose for each activity, the use of the activity money, they have to run it by her. And so at this point, we have not been notified. So at this point, we're saying that if the parents were to donate the money, if the board were to vote to accept the money as a gift, the district would utilize it for scholarships. It is a senior event, so we would use it for this year's seniors.
I mean, it's it's just unfortunate that it happened. I mean, it's been a tradition since, I can remember. And the biggest losers here were the cheerleaders because they would have.
Correct.
All this money.
Correct.
So you mentioned earlier, Ken, proper guidelines. Are we now gonna have proper guidelines as far as fundraising?
Well, I mean, it's when the clubs come to and ask, let's say the principal for, can we have this fundraising activity? So the first thing they have to do is they need to ask the district office for it because they're only allowed so many. But then as the sponsor of your club, you need to establish what you can and cannot do to raise the funds. So obviously we don't want kids selling, liquor, raffling, gambling,
alcohol.
Those types of things. So you have to say, it can be limited to, I don't know, plate sales, raffling of baskets. It's still raffling, it's still money, it's still a way of collecting it. It's just the negative connotation that goes with the other activities.
Guidelines now, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, we have them. We have them, they were just not adhered
Just
to.
didn't follow them.
And it's not on the parents, and I will say that here clearly, because the fundraiser was not approved. And so when you don't approve the fundraiser, you don't have the opportunity to give the kids clarity.
Oh, I see.
So,
And that's what I don't understand. I mean, if they knew that there was gonna be a Miss Javelina or Mr. Javelina,
correct.
where was the loss of communication there between admin and
Correct.
students?
I agree. I agree with you 100%. And so the only thing that we can do at this point is to make sure that, and Mrs. Ravazo has been informed, and of course this goes out to all the principals as well, is that if they are going to have a student event where fundraising is the means of collecting money, we have to have very clear guidelines.
How many parents raise this money?
Three?
With 3 parents?
3 only?
3.
And it's a significant amount of money.
Would it be fair to say, I mean, you could also, obviously do scholarships, but maybe senior prom? Use that money for that? I mean, make sure it's distributed evenly to the class itself.
That is something that we can consider, but again, we need to make sure that the parents want to gift the money.
They can just keep it?
Because they can just keep it, because they've already provided a service to the community. Whatever they did, they've already provided a service, and so it's technically their money.
Right.
All right, so
Their money.
that's cool. So at this point, obviously, it's 15,000, which it is a lot of money, but
Wow.
I mean, at this point, any motion to either accept or deny it, it all depends on the parent itself.
Correct.
I'm
So
also accept.
you're gonna know the parents are going to say yes or not.
We don't.
We don't,
So we can just say yes now and then they can do it.
and they might
And so-
never happen.
So the recommendation is if they were to gift the money, then you would to vote, what's on the discussion on the table right now is you would vote to accept the money or to decline the money.
So
If-
if we accept it, that doesn't mean they're gonna give it, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. It's if they should.
And there wouldn't be any stipulation as to how the money's gonna be spent, because my understanding is, if it's a donation or a gift to the district, we decide what it's gonna be spent on.
And so, yes.
But that's my understanding in general. That they can't come and say, well, they can, of course, but.
Oh, you mean the parents? No, it would have to be established by the district. You're correct.
I mean,
The use
Motion
of,
to accept? I got a motion on the floor by Mr. Cruz Mata to accept,
second.
second by Mr. Bonilla. Any comments, questions? But all in favor, please raise your hand. Mr. Espinoza?
Yes.
Yes. Motion passes 6-0. All right, letter F, discussion possible action to approve the purchase of a one-year subscription for the ICE station.
The recommendation is that the Board of Trustees approve the purchase of a one-year subscription for iStation at a cost of $37,206. And this is for district-wide.
37,000 what?
Yes, sir. And this money will be coming out of ESSER.
How long have we been using the ice station?
Actually, this is the first year we come back to it. We were using Star Renaissance for reading and math. So this is the first year that we're using the upgraded iStation.
Okay. And we're not gonna be using the Renaissance anymore?
High school uses it too?
Yes.
What subjects?
For reading, they created a pilot for CCISD.
Okay.
So this was used before or
We used to use it in a few years back.
a few years back? Do you have any data on that?
We do. It should be here in the district somewhere. Not recently, because we've been using Star Renaissance for more than 5 years, if not longer.
How do we know?
iStation, it's research-based.
Does it work? How do we know?
Tell the principals here, ask them.
Yep.
Huh?
Tell the principals here, ask them.
Well, who's in charge of that?
Of iStation?
Yeah.
At the district level, it says. They've already assessed,
District level, so Irma and,
as far as the research is concerned, they're asking iStation, does it work?
We have used, again, she's mentioned we used before, years, one of the things that they've done is upgraded it so that we can, when we speak about approaches, iStation will give us, and it's very balanced to what the state looks at too. So, we've used it numerous years and it has worked, but again, for the past 2.5 years, it's been out of the picture. So, and it speaks about needs, masters as well. Principals have been asked, do you want to continue to use it? They've asked for it, so that's just why we're bringing it back this year.
So they're in agreement.
Yes.
They're in agreement that they want it back.
Yeah.
so how many students use it? I mean, so how do we recognize?
Right now, we just started with iStation, and so right now, all of the students should be tested by the end of the week in reading and math. We're getting baseline data. Some of the campuses have already started with their progress monitoring.
All populations, right?
Correct.
So we're gonna get data later?
In November, yes. Yeah, the principals have been notified.
It happens, this will be a yearly thing anyway, whether
Correct.
we're using ice station or Renaissance. End of the year, all the kids get evaluated.
Right. Across the district.
Any motions on the floor?
Was there already one? Wasn't there?
No.
I'll move. If there's not, I'll move.
I got a motion by
I mean,
Melissa.
can we ask the principal if it works?
You can.
Here, let me, here,
I second the motion.
I go.
No, so we can,
Oh,
yeah,
All
I
right,
can allow.
so, okay, so I got motion by Melissa, second by Mr. Bonilla.
All right.
Comments or questions? So the question, I would have to pick Ms. Guerrero, she's the longest tenured principal. So Ms. Guerrero, can you please identify the difference of Renaissance and iStation, and what is your recommendation?
I'm not the right principal to ask, because Renaissance was really not developmentally appropriate for my grade levels.
Okay.
I use iStation in lieu of Renaissance because of the research behind it. It is recently approved as a state dyslexia screener, in addition to the dyslexia screeners we already have. What I like about it is it's a quick game mode assessment, which engages my children. And then it has activities, books, it does oral reading fluency, word problem solving. But it does it in a game-like mode, which our kids are used to because they're used to playing games. But it's geared towards literacy and numeracy. I've seen years worth of growth when it's used appropriately. You can do it too much and you can do it too little.
Thank you, ma'am.
The other campuses.
Help yourself.
Junior high, we are not familiar with it, but we are testing it out. We gave our baseline test today for math, and we're doing the English one for tomorrow. The thing that I like about it, is that it's going to give the students assignments based on what the baseline test gives us. With Star Renaissance, it was more, we were doing it once, and then we weren't really using it, every day. What iStation, what we're doing right now is we're gonna use it daily because it gives us those assignments. One of the things that was discussed today, and the teachers, the principals at our principals meeting today, we had a concern about the accelerated reading part of it, and it was confirmed today that it does come with it, so I like that part of it too. But as far as using it before, nobody at our campus has ever.
Last question, is there any professional development provider?
For iStation? Yes, they have already been through the training, the teachers as well.
Is there gonna be continued professional development?
I believe we have an additional training coming up for AR I don't know how many of you received the email today from Ms. Schilling, that we do have one more coming up.
And at any time, Mr. Mata, that any campus needs more specific strategies on how to use the program, we can just call them and they will provide it. That's part of it possible.
So what's the protocol? If they need more professional development?
At any.
Irma? They go to you?
I didn't hear your question.
What's the protocol? If they need more professional development, do they go to you and then?
They can do it campus-based, or they can call us. We're ready, we have, like, Ronald's got emails today, specifics on iStation. Yeah, but they'll get information as well. When I was the campus principal, I would call them immediately because I didn't want to wait till my teachers needed something, so they're ready to come help.
All right, all in favor, please raise your hand.
Oh, yeah, me too.
All right, motion passes 6-0. All right, letter G, discussion and possible action modifying resolution of the board approving a one-time teacher salary increase for the 21-22 school year. Ms. Briones?
So this is a resolution that had previously been passed, and so what we are asking the board to consider is to modify the resolution to approve a one-time teacher salary increase, because the way the resolution was written, and I believe this was approved back in August, if not September, the way it reads right now, it's any full-time employee between 21 and 30 years. And the intention of the resolution at that time was for teachers. And so we're asking that the board consider modifying the language of the resolution to indicate, to change from employees to teachers between 21 and 30 years.
And that's the only change?
That's the only change.
So move.
All right, I got a motion by Mr. Bonilla.
Second.
Second by Mr. Espinosa. Have any questions?
I have one.
Go ahead, sir.
So the teachers have not gotten the increase yet as part of their salary increase
They will receive their increase in October.
in October?
That's the way the resolution was written.
And who's considered, I mean, is this all employees?
Teachers?
Teachers.
Huh?
Teachers.
You remember the ones that were frozen for like 4 or 5 years?
Yeah.
And we agreed to unfreeze those and then give them like a
The 5,000?
$5,000 stipend. Well, on the language, it says employees, when it should have been read for teachers. That's the only thing we're
Well,
changing.
yeah, that's what you.
Yes.
Change it to teachers.
Correct.
Oh, okay.
Correct.
Yeah, but nothing else changes. The stipend doesn't change, nothing changes. Just the employees eligible.
Any other comments?
I have one. Ms. Briones, and my understanding was that they were gonna get one in October? October?
For this group?
Uh-huh.
Yes, I believe so.
And when are they gonna get their second one?
If, I don't remember how this was designed, but we have a second payment in January for this group,
For this
January 30 of 2022. It's the way it's designed right now.
Actually, yeah, January 30th and October.
15?
Second payment, but yeah, the second payment,
Yeah.
January 30th,
Yeah,
2022.
It's on item 3.
It's
on the
item
second
number
page.
3, the dates.
Okay.
All right, any other comments? All in favor, please raise your hand. Motion passes 6-0. All right, H, discussion and possible action to approve resolution of the board approving a retention stipend for returning full-time employees for the 21-22 school year.
The recommendation is that the Board of Trustees approve resolution of approving a retention stipend for returning full-time and returning part-time employees, including interventionists, for the 21-22 school year, a total amount of $5,000 per year, $2,500 to be paid October, and the other $25 to be paid in March. And for part-time employees, $1,250 to be paid in October, and an additional $1,250 to be paid in March.
What you're saying, it's for all employees
All full-time or part-time returning
that
employees.
came back,
Correct.
custodians and
Everybody.
Office staff.
everybody, so.
And interventionist, is the math interventionist there
Correct.
for the 5,000,
Yes.
for the 5,000?
And go to page 89, because I think we had that problem last year. I think it's a number 5. They say eligible employees must have been employed during the entire year. So what if we have somebody that came a week after school start? We have to address that issue, so they're disqualified?
No. So wherever they were employed, if they came in October and they stayed the entire year and came back next year, they are eligible.
For the whole amount?
For the whole amount.
Okay, as long as that's settled,
Yes.
because last year we're saying, well, no.
Oh, I'm sorry, sorry.
No,
You know what this, okay, who are we considering when you talk about part-time? Who are the part-time?
The part-timers, we only have 3 part-time employees right now that are classified as part-time.
And what departments?
Maintenance?
All 3 are for maintenance? And, I'm sorry, interventionist besides the math, who else do we have?
Just the one.
Just her? Okay.
And Mr. Espinosa was asking about if they came in late, what if they came in late this year?
No, this is a retention
This is for
stipend,
people,
so it has to be
returners
from last year to
worked
this
last
year.
And my question was because it says here during the entire, so I think we have to change it and say,
The entirety of their employment, so if they came in, like I said, in October, their entire year is from October to
Right.
the end of the
The
year.
concern last year was that somebody didn't get hired the first day of school, they came in.
legal, and we have to go back and forth.
No, but they're included on there.
They're
Yeah,
included, yes.
I don't know if we can add that or
We will.
something, because if it says entire, I mean, we can,
Let's be
and I
honest.
think everybody deserves it.
Oh, yes. When are they gonna get their first payment as well?
Right now, I visited with Region 20 today, and we have a payroll running on the 15th. So right now, it's looking like next Friday, October the 22nd.
The 22nd. And have you discussed with Region 20 if they can get like a separate check?
Yes, that is the way it's going to be paid.
Separate?
Separate.
Okay.
Correct.
I heard that,
Yeah.
last time they were taxed a lot of money.
Yes,
Okay, so it's gonna be separate.
yes, separate check.
For the other one too, for the frozen teachers, it's gonna be a separate check?
For the one, I'm sorry?
For the frozen ones? The 20?
Yes.
Yes?
Mhm.
They're all getting separate?
They're all separate, yes.
All right, any motion on the floor?
I'll second.
Motion by Ms. Nora Guerrero, second by Ms. Melissa Guerrero. Any comments or questions? All in favor, please raise your hand. Motion passes 6-0. All right, I, discussion of possible action to approve resolution of the board adopting a one-time sign-on bonus for newly hired full-time employees during the 21-22 school year.
Okay, so because the cost of living impacts everybody, for this particular group, we are recommending that the Board of Trustees approve resolution approving a one-time sign-on bonus for newly hired full-time employees during the 21-22 school year. And this is going to be in the amount of $2,000, $1,000 to be paid in October, and an additional $1,000 to be paid in March. Same timeline as the other resolution.
Okay, and again, like, I mean, tonight we might hire 2 of them, so they will be eligible
Correct.
for the whole amount.
Yes, we're going to hold them harmless for their contract, for their employment contract. And it is for full-time employees.
Only.
Only,
No part-time.
no part-time.
All right, I got a motion by Mr. Espinosa,
Second.
second by Mr. Bonilla. Any comments or questions? Go ahead, sir.
How many new hire employees do we have?
I'm sorry,
How many new hire employees?
34 as of Friday? 34, 36 maybe.
What's considered a new hired employee? I mean, they're brand spanking new, or did somebody that left and then they came back?
No, they're new. Do we have any returning?
New.
Do we have any returning in your list of 36, Sarah?
Like, that left in May or June and came back. No, all of the employees on my list are new to the district.
For example, I had an employee that me la robaron del colegio. She's working with the high school now. Is she considered, she used to be a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
She came on board with us, and then now she's back with high school as a counselor. Positions. Is she considered a new hire?
Yes.
We consider a new hire?
Yep, she was in here last year for the retention.
Not returning.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
On the list.
All right, any other questions? All in favor, please raise your hand. Mr. Espinoza, you good?
Yes, move it.
All right. Motion passes 6-0. All right, letter J, discussion possible action to increase the pay rate for long-term substitute.
The recommendation is that the board consider to increase the pay rate for long-term substitutes from $175 daily to $200. They would still, they will be getting a significant increase and still at the same time not making close to what beginning teachers would be making. So, and I don't know if you recall, but Mr. Ramirez had already given them an increase. And so we're requesting a second increase of $25.
And this is for all, are they degree certified or?
Well, but I requested for this to be put on the agenda because, I mean, these are the people that we had to pick up
They're working towards their
as long-term subs because, I mean, they need something or this or whatever.
Oh, okay. They're working on.
And these people for the last 3 years, I mean, we have been paying them $170 a day. And really, I mean, if these people hadn't been hired this year, I mean, we would have been about 15 teachers. So
Correct.
as Ms. Briones said, I mean, the cost of living is going up and everything. The other thing, I don't know, we can place it here, Mrs. Briones, on my recommendation, I mean, we'll have only 5 days of sick leave that we gave them about 2 years ago. I know back, I don't know, Mr. Ramirez was here or Mr. Gonzalez, we approved a COVID leave of about 20 days for, I don't know, it was for everybody, only teachers or whatever. And I was gonna recommend to see if we can give these people an additional 5 or 10 days also, because I know some of these people at the beginning got sick and everything, and they wasted their 5 days.
For a very specific branch of employees, we would have to bring it back for, as an agenda item, Mr. Espinosa, so we'll bring it back in November.
Bring it back. And the other thing is, when we said that we approve the stipend or the retention, since we said all employees and these people will also be eligible for that.
If they're
Because if they
retaining,
came
yes.
back-
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
If they came back, they will qualify for the.
For the retention
5,000,
stipend.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because and I was looking at the report that Ms. Garcia gave us, and you got, we have two that already completed everything, fully certified. And I remember on those ones, I mean, because they had been earning 170, we're gonna go back and pay them as a beginning teacher or what?
That's a question that needs to be answered, sir.
So Ramirez, in a conversation with me, Matt, told me, but maybe we can put it.
Yeah.
And the work
Put it on the
inside, I mean,
How many do we have?
we have 2 right now that have completed. And I think you put that there's about 7 or 10 that are enrolled in some type of a program. And that they might be completed, maybe by December, which is good for us. So maybe when we bring it up, we can discuss if those people, we can go retroactive.
We have to run that by legal first.
Yeah.
And if
So
legal
that-
says that it's okay, then we'll put it on the agenda for November.
So that we can also motivate these people to go ahead and, try to finish and become fully certified.
Ms. Briones?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I didn't see the, again, I've been asking about the math interventionist. She's not here, right, on this agenda? Her hourly. I think it's a good time then to add her to what Mr. Espinosa is doing, because I know that we spoke to Mr. Ramirez as well about this, and, you know, it wasn't given to her.
But is she considered, long-term,
I mean, well, she does everything. I mean, it's like if she's a classroom teacher, I mean, she prepares, her own study guides, you know, she.
Well, check it out.
classes.
yeah, check it out, and if she's doing that, I mean, kind of the role of a teacher.
For years,
We can help.
for years, she's been doing it, and I know that we were gonna consider a pay increase for her hourly, wages, and, well, we haven't seen.
Correct, and it was something that, I recall Mr. Ramirez discussing this, so it'll be on the
How long
agenda
she been with the district?
for a long time.
Years.
Yeah, for a long time,
All right, look into it.
yes.
She wasn't hired as a long-term
No,
substitute, no?
no.
All right, so any motion on the floor for Jay to increase the long-term course?
A motion.
I got a motion by Mr. Espinosa, second by Mr. Mata.
Okay.
Any other comments or questions? All in favor, please raise your hand. Motion passes 6-0. All right, K, discussion and possible action to increase the pay rates for sub-teachers. Ms. Briones?
The recommendation is for the board to consider an increase for these different positions. So we would be increasing the pay rates for substitute teachers by $10. For non-degreed, they will go from earning $70 a day to earning $80 a day. Degreed non-certified, $90 a day to $100 a day. Degreed certified, from $110 a day to $120 a day.
Is there any way we could make it 20? I mean, right now, I mean, are you guys having problems with substitute teachers?
Yes.
And so mom were telling me, well, they pay us a little bit. Actually, the people that are degree certified, are saying, well, you're right. Maybe I would apply or whatever, $20.
Degreed certified,
Well, I mean, go 20 for
across the board,
across the
10,
board.
20,
we're gonna go 90,
110,
and 130.
is it doable?
That is
I
the
know, I mean,
recommendation.
I think the first one is really low, Taman.
We'll
I-
get a.
If we're gonna,
Non-degreed,
yeah.
But right now, I mean,
I think for non-degreed, the 90 is a reasonable beginning.
So the non-degree is from what to 80, from 80 to 90?
They're gonna go from 70 to 90.
$20.
Oh,
$20.
70 to 90, okay.
Right.
That's good. And then from 90 to 110?
Correct, and then from 110 to 130.
Let's see about how many subs we have. I know we're doing some
I'd
tonight.
say about 20, between 20, 25. And of course, every time that we approve, or we hire substitutes at a board meeting, we have the substitute training right after. And not everybody that's hired shows up, and then not everybody that's hired and shows up to the training will answer phone calls when the campuses will call them. That's
No.
another issue, but
So, yeah, no, I mean,
It's more of an incentive.
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
when maybe they'll. cut.
That's a nice increase.
Any other comments? All right, any motion on the floor?
Motion.
Oh, I'll second.
I got a motion by Mr. Espinosa, second by Ms. Melissa Guerrero. Any other comments or questions? All in favor, please raise your hand. Motion passes 6-0. All right, letter L, discussion and possible action to approve changes to administrative pay scales affecting the salaries of assistant principals and instructional coaches. Ms. Briones?
This is a discussion that we had during last month's board meeting, and so the recommendation at this point is to consider approving, moving assistant principals to AP4 from AP3 and instructional coaches from Table 2 to pay Table 3.
And this is using, remember we have two calendars, one A, B.
This is using,
A.
using the approved calendar A.
I motion that we move them up.
Are they in here?
The scales, yes.
Is it the one that Mr. Ramirez gave us?
Yes.
The one that I thought we had already voted for?
We work out of whatever was approved.
All right, so I got a motion on the floor by Mr. Espinosa. Second by Mr. Bonilla. Comments or questions?
I got one.
Yeah, I have one too.
Okay, Mr. Mata, go ahead.
In reviewing this, looking at it, where are the counselors?
The counselors are on a teacher salary schedule.
Are they considered
Admin?
by a teacher?
TA puts them.
TA puts them in the-
Librarians and teachers
Together.
together always. So if teachers get raised, counselors get
Counselors get a
raised.
raise.
Because they're TA, it's a TA,
So they're not gonna get any raises, everybody else is getting raises?
They did,
They already got their.
Already did.
they did.
But I mean, I would think, I would think that they would fall under professional because they're earning master's degrees.
TA has them, just like Mr. Espinosa says, TA groups them together in the teacher tables.
and there's some times when, no TA recommends raises, from them and nobody else gets them.
Right.
The teacher will get them, the librarian will get them, and the counselor will.
And they always leave the diagnosticians out, because they don't have a big enough,
Right, cool. To give
It's
them
a
a raise.
TA.
So Ms. Leone, oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Mata, sorry.
So who else benefits from this? Everybody else?
From this,
Us?
for this specific recommendation is for the assistant principals and the instructional coaches that you all recommended last month.
Okay, so why do we have everybody else in here?
Because that's the way the tables have the different positions already in the scales, but we're only looking at the assistant principals and the instructional coaches.
But I list,
A2 and A3.
Yeah.
A2 and A2 have the instructional coaches.
Instructional coaches went from 2 to 3, and the APs went from AP3 to 4.
how many days do y'all work, Ms. Leone?
Us or these two positions?
No, everybody, everybody in the.
We work 226. The assistant principals, I believe, work 202,
No,
212, and the coaches as well.
Nobody works 240?
Maintenance works 240.
Only?
Only maintenance works 240.
they work during spring break and.
Correct, because they work throughout the year.
Well, I agree, but can I vote?
So everybody else stays with the scales that we approved during Mr. Ramirez, except the principals, the ICs?
Correct, the recommendations that you all have.
Remember, we brought this to the table
Right.
and we tabled it, so I don't know, if anybody's gonna put it back or that's it. With, all the, stipends and all that,
All right, any other questions?
Can I vote?
All in favor?
Yes, because you're voting on.
Please raise your hand. Motion passes 6-0.
Middle.
I should have abstained. Can I abstain? Abstain. Too late, really?
You want to abstain?
I want to abstain.
Okay. Motion passes 501. All right, number 8, informational discussion. A, ESL program evaluation for the 2021 school year.
And Ms. Martinez will present the program evaluation.
Good evening. This is the found in your packet on page 104. As you know, for the past 5 years, our district is just an ESL district. We used to be bilingual / ESL, but because no grade level has 25 or more, our district is now just an English as a second language district. We have 2 programs. The content base is self-contained from pre-K 1, 2, Ms. Army, you have second grade self-contained, right?
Second grade?
The ESL program. Okay, so up to second. After second, third, I'm sorry? Third as well, Elizabeth is third? Okay. So pre-K to third is self-contained. That is called a content-based program. What that means is the teacher teaches math, reading, the four core. Then from fourth on up to high school, we have a pull-out. And the state requires that a ESL certified teacher teaches our students reading or English language arts. We have gone down in numbers since 2015, when we had 112. This past year, we had 56 identified. We serve 33, and the reason we serve 33 is because we have some parents that deny services, and some are monitored, as you see the numbers in our table that I provided. So 56 total, we've gone down like 50%. If you go and read the news around the state of Texas, most districts are increasing, but we are decreasing. Okay, so then we are required to serve our kids and provide the TELPAS exam. On page 107, you will see that I'm providing you with the yearly summary of Tomas Rivera. We had 4 kindergarten students, and remember, these are beginning children. We had 3 kids of beginning reading, listening and speaking and writing. These are called the English Language Proficiency Standards. We have 1 student who got intermediate, and what happens is, since the student is in kinder, was in kinder last year, he or she is now in first, so we want to pay close attention to the student that's already in intermediate, and our goal is to take them to advanced this year. So our teachers have this data as well, but they have individual student data that helps them know, okay, Irma is in first grade, she's intermediate in listening, how can I get her to advance? We have provided professional training for them to enhance the proficiency level. So you'll have all the grade levels. Kinder, first we have 5 students, those 5 are in beginning. On the next page, we have second grade, we have 4 students, these students are now in third. We have 1 student, if you notice on the reading, we have 2 students beginning. We have 1 student in speaking and beginning, and we have 4 that are also beginning in writing in second grade. So now they're in third grade. So we have 1 student in intermediate. So again, it is our goal to help this student advance to the advanced proficiency level. We have 1 student, if you notice, in second grade, 1 student is already advanced in reading, and in this, there's 4 in advanced in listening. What we want to do, the federal government has required, it used to be that we could just get advanced, but now they have to get advanced high in all 4 domains. So the rigor has gone up, the expectancy of passing is greater. So that's second grade. Third grade, we had 3 students last year. Again, you notice beginning 1 is advanced and 1 is advanced high. You go across the proficiency levels, reading, listening, speaking, and writing, 4 various specific areas that we have to address throughout the year. For the Zavala Elementary, remember last year, Zavala had second, third, and fourth. So this is last year's report. So beginning with 4th grade, we had only 1 student. And this student, if you notice on our report, this student is already in advance in reading, listening. He's an intermediate in speaking. He or she may have some difficulty speaking, but advanced in writing. So this student is now in 5th grade. So Mrs. Bernal has Mrs. Garza that helps our English learners. Our goal is to get the student to advance high in all 4 proficiencies, and then reclassify him. He or she will be eligible to be reclassified. And what that means is to get out of the ESL program, and we monitor them for 5 years. It used to be 2 years.
Wow.
Then it went to 4 years. And now we have to monitor to the graduate. That's what that means.
Wow.
Grade 5, we have 4 students. Again, you have 2 intermediate and advanced, we had 1, and advanced high, we had 1 in reading. Again, board members, these students have to get advanced high in all 4 in order to be considered for reclassification. In grade 6, we also had 4. They are now in 7th grade. So again, Mr. Alvarado has an ESL teacher that looks very specifically at the English learners. And just another thing, next year when you get this report, they are no longer gonna be called English learners. The state has changed the name to emergent bilinguals, so. Emergent bilinguals, yes. So we're keeping up with the changes. But anyway, so the goal is to get these advanced high. These students are now in 7th grade. If you notice, there's 2 students in reading, and 1 in listening, and then 2 in writing. Even though, again, if we get advanced high, we are able to reclassify these students. Grade 7, these are now in 8th grade. We only have 2. We have 1 in advanced and 1 in advanced high. Again, teachers are working to move these students according to their proficiency levels. In grade 8, we had 2. They are now at high school. Mrs. Suravaso also has a teacher that is addressing the specific needs of these students. So we will continue to work with them and hopefully reclassify them. Last year was a little challenging because of all the issues with the pandemic, but we're working very diligently to help our students. Grade 9, we had 3. We have some in beginning, intermediate, and advanced. And some of these are students that come in this year as a freshman. They haven't been with us all this time. So that's why you'll see some of the freshmen in beginning. It just depends when we get them in our district, in our school district. Grade 10, we had 3. Notice that they're intermediate. Our goal again is to get them to go higher. And we had no students in grade 11 last year. We had 7 in 12th grade. Those students have graduated. Okay. The next thing that I have for you is I gave you like a bar graph. I don't know, some of the board members have requested bar graphs. This is telling you that we have some students that have been parents denied services. For example, in high school, because of athletics and band, they can choose not to be in the ESL class, which is why this is the green bar. Okay, so we have.
Ma'am, can I ask you a question before I forget? I'm sorry for the interruption. Of the seniors, last year's seniors that graduated, how many of them were exited?
They don't get to be.
They don't get exited?
Because they're seniors, correct.
Okay.
So, Mr. Bonilla, they started as a senior, and then you don't get to reclassify until the following year because of STAR. Good question. Okay, so then again, it's just a graphical representation. I'll show you in our district. And I broke it down for you all in kinder. How many students were in the beginning, in intermediate. It's the same information with a bar graph. The same thing for first. We have 5 students and they were all in the beginning, but I represented it with a bar graph. In grade 2, we have 4. And they're all in intermediate. Again, these students are in 3rd grade this year. We're hoping that next year you'll see the bar graph to the right side in advance. In grade 3, we have parent denials that were already at advanced high, and you notice in grade 3, we already have STAR. One of those students that is in, that the parent has denied services, the student is still being very successful. Some of these kids don't have a language issue, so, that's why sometimes you'll see they're gonna be doing okay. Grade 4, we had that one student, again, he or she is in 5th grade. So we just have to move on one more to the advanced high to reclassify. In grade 5, we have 4 students, and then I show you where we have the advanced kids and we have the advanced high, and how many of students were successful in the state assessment. We had 2. Again, at grade 6, same information with the bar graph. We had a student in grade 6 with their parent denial. And what that means is the student did not take the test. If you see that's 100%, NA means the students are still required to take the state assessment, but we can't force them. The 7th grade, again, we have 2. You'll see the bar graphs that we had 2 of them in intermediate, but one of those kids made the state assessment. Grade 8, we had 2. They're all in advanced. Again, we've been moving to advanced high. They're eligible to be reclassified. Those kids are not in 9th grade. In ninth grade, the bar graph shows you that we have a parent denial that is already in advance, and then the others are beginning and reviewing.
This kid, this kid didn't take the star?
I'm sorry?
Kids didn't take the star?
Yes, sir, but it shows you that they did not meet.
Oh, okay, all right, sorry.
Grade 10, we had 3, 1 in intermediate and 1 denial. Again, these kids took the state assessment as well. And then we didn't have any juniors, but we have seniors, we had 7. Same data in the bar graph. On page 127 in your packet, we show you the Delta Star, again, very specific to state assessment, which starts in grade 3. We had 3 students, and out of those 3, 1 student met the reading, and he or she was successful. I just broke it down by grade levels. Grade 4, remember, we only had 1 student. The student was not successful in the state assessment. Grade 5, we had 4, and you'll see that we had 2 that met the reading, 1 that made the math, and then 4 2 passed the science. So these are specific to our English learners taking the state assessment. In grade 6, again, we have 4 students, and we only had 3 that tested, but none of them were successful in the state assessment. Grade 7, we had 2 that were tested, and then 1 of them met the reading and the math and the writing. Because in grade 7, we had reading, math, and writing. In grade 8, we had 2 students, and none of them made the state assessment. Grade 9, we had 3. We had 1 student pass the reading and 1 student pass the math. Grade 10, we had 3 students, and only 1 student passed the biology. This is the biology assessment. Again, we didn't have any juniors last year. So the senior class of 2022 will not have an English learner data for this coming year. So again, we had 7. Out of the 7, we had 2 that tested. Again, these are seniors and they've taken the test numerous times. What happens here, board members, is that if they're a senior and they haven't passed STAR or the end of course exam, they can do what we call a project. So that's why they don't have to take the state assessment. We also provide, our district provides ongoing training for our ESL certified teachers. We continue to have new teacher training. We have the beginning of year LPAC framework that tells you that if Irma's an English learner, what are you going to do to provide to help her do better this year? So we keep doing those. Those are required professional development specific to our English ESL teachers. But, you know, even though I say that, we offer it to everybody because this is research-based strategies that they get to review. We also discuss accountability, how the LPAC, how the English learners are part of the accountability system as well, so we talk about accountability. Last year, remember that we did a lot of virtual classroom instruction, so I provided the opportunity to train our teachers how to support the English learners through a virtual classroom. On September the 3rd, we had a content gap. Remember that research is showing us that we could be from 3 or more years behind academically, so we provided a training and a tool that these teachers could use to help them close the gap. November, we had the champion of literacy, that was speaking scores, again, specific to English learners. On December, we had understanding the TEKS and preparing quality lessons. And January the 29th, we had differentiated instruction for all student POP, not just for ESL. So we continue to provide and support our teachers through professional trainings to help our English learners. Remember, board members, next year you'll be in emergent bilinguals. As the state changes, we provide that information to you.
The trainings.
I'm sorry?
Who does the trainings, like?
Region 20. Region 20.
You're part of them as well?
Yes, I participate in them as well, yes, very.
Question, how many times have you observed teachers in the ESL classroom or whatever to make sure that we're in compliance?
I was many instructional rounds that I possibly can. Again, during the pandemic, less than not. But for my campuses that were in school improvement, I was there frequently in all the classrooms. This year's been different because, COVID has been in different campuses but I've made some rounds. But the past 2 years I was very involved with my two, I'm going from my campuses, but I also met with the other campuses as well. So I would provide specifics, not only with our English learner or the ESL program of Mr. Plata, but I also do accountability. I help them with the effective skills framework. I do all those things. But speaking about this, I do what? I can't instruct someone else.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, moving on to B, transition of business office services to Region 20.
So this is a request that Ms. Young had made of the district office. She wanted us to provide a synopsis of some of the glitches that we've experienced as we are transitioning payroll from the district to Region 20. So in conversations with Mr. Vara and Paige Maloney, who is the CFO for Region 20, Ms. Young very specifically wanted it in writing, so this is what they were able to submit. However, Mr. Vara does want you all to know that if you need a Zoom meeting to be more specific in terms of what glitches we've experienced and resolutions to those glitches, that we can schedule a Zoom in November. And for the most part, we've ironed out all of the glitches. Hopefully, this Friday we won't experience any. Region 20 is doing a dummy payroll run this week. Mrs. Garcia will follow up on that to make sure that whatever glitches the system is indicating, that we correct them before payroll on Friday. The beauty of Region 20 is that they can make the adjustments on the spot. Whereas here locally, we would not be able to. We would have to wait for the next pay period to be able to do it. So even if it's payroll Friday and we have to make an adjustment, we can get the employee paid on Saturday. So that's the beauty of having payroll at the service center, is that they can expedite paychecks.
Let me ask you a question now.
Yes,
Who is the person that is in communication with Region 20? We have to have somebody here?
Correct.
Who will provide who's absent, who's not?
Yes.
Who just got hired? Who's our communication person?
So as we finalize the transition, Region 20 wants to limit the contact, so it'll be Ms. Garcia or myself that are communicating with them. Sarah very specifically handles the glitches, and I handle the more procedural things for the service center.
Will that provide more work for HR or?
No, this is something that HR would normally do. Yeah, it's determined, especially like for the hourlies, determine the number of hours that they pay, number of hours that they went overtime, substitutes. That's something that HR is responsible for on a regular basis, so regardless.
I have a question, reference to this, there was a concern about, have we conducted an in-district self-analysis of the flow of that information from wherever it originates? I don't know if it originates at the campuses and getting over there. And I'm assuming now we bypass the business office completely. They have nothing to do with what?
Minimally.
Information gathering.
Yes, minimally. So if you recall, I sent you all, I believe maybe 2, if not 3 Fridays ago in my board briefs, I sent you the procedures established for us by Region 20. Very clearly, they're stipulating, these are the things that Region 20, in addition to the contract, is responsible for. And these are the activities that the district is responsible for. Because we're in transition, Region 20 pretty much says, Crystal City, you need to be hands-off, because we're trying to move you, and this is a conversation that I had with the principals this morning, is Crystal City, we're delayed in coming to the digital age. And so that's where the glitches are coming in. We are used to doing everything paper-based with a whole lot of documentation. Region 20 is strictly digital. And so that is one of the big issues that we were facing, is having to transition, so if it's a substitute, having to calculate. We're here, even literally as of last week, we're calculating hours, paper, pencil, here. That's not the way Region 20 works. So we have to come up to speed with them, and that's one of the observations that they're making, is They had to learn our system, the way we do things, to be able to come up to their system. And so for a period of about 2 weeks, if not 3, they said, hands off, you need to let us handle all the glitches. Submit whatever concerns the employees are making, and we will adjust them on our end. And so for the last 2-3 weeks, that's what we've been doing.
But from our end, we still have to collect that information.
Correct.
It might be by hand.
Yes.
Especially when it comes to.
Yes.
Substitutes,
For very specific employees, we are still being held accountable for that.
because, along the lines that you just mentioned right now, ma'am, it seems that maybe some of the positions in the business office are becoming obsolete. Because we do carry several individuals that work in the business office, and I'm curious as to what they're doing now.
So we have, one of the employees is actually multitasking. She's doing, helping us with staff and student PINs. That is her responsibility, but also keeping track with all of the awards. They keep track of all of the notifications that we're receiving from the state. And then we have our business facilitator that does all the paperwork, all the paper pencil paperwork, insurance, and all of that are required here locally, cutting local checks and all of that. So those 2 positions are very busy, very busy.
So right now, I mean, who is handling requisitions from the campuses for supplies and materials and all that?
The campuses submit online, and they come, and then the procedure is, it's whoever the principal secretary inputting, the principals have to approve, and then they come to me. It's all electronic. Yeah, so then we just go and, yeah.
So we do have, in that regard, 'cause that was gonna be one of my examples.
That's a very streamlined process.
We do have a paper trail.
Correct.
Computerized.
We have an internal paper trail, yes.
Any other questions?
No, other than, I hope we did express to our employees, they might have been paid on time, that we are concerned about them, and that we're going to do our best for it not to happen again.
We've expressed that to the principals as well.
Ms. Briones, I had a concern, as a matter of fact, like Mr. Bonilla dijo eso. What about the employees that got 2 checks and got taxed twice?
So we've had that conversation with Region 20, and so they're not, so let's say that an employee is going to end up owing the district. We're not going to just deduct, so leaving them without a paycheck. So whatever deductions or whatever overpayment was made will be collected throughout the course of the rest of their contract, however many payments they still have left on their contract. So nobody should feel it in the pocketbook significantly.
Can I ask a question in reference to that? The employees that were double paid, did they notify the district and let us?
Actually, yes.
Good.
Actually, yes, very ethical.
Good.
They let us know that they had been overpaid.
Good.
Because of the fear that they have to pay back. So yes, they did.
Good.
Did we have any employees that had direct deposit and their check didn't get on time and they have to pay money?
I don't know, that's a direct deposit that actually we're depositing a lot sooner than we would have locally here.
All right, moving on to C, federal grant information. Ms. Briones?
So this is, I forwarded this to you also maybe 2-3 Fridays ago. This is, we were conducting internal audits here on federal grants. So what you see here are 3 years' worth of federal budgets extending from 2019 all the way to current year. And so what we found out with our financial consultant is that we had a number of dollars, a significant number of dollars that had not been spent. A lot of it has to do with COVID. In 2019, 2020, we were closed, and so we couldn't justify expenditures other than the technological ones. And most of those expenditures were made out of ESSER, the first ESSER 1, which was about 1.6 million. And so for that year, and I can't speak for the administration that was in place at that time, but based on, if I just follow the money, most of the expenditures that year in 1920 were paid out of ESSER, because to date, there's a few thousands left in ESSER, in the original ESSER. And whatever is left is all tied up, mostly in supplies and materials, but in a very specific line item. Last year, when we came in, the total expenditures in July, which is when I came in federal programs, the expenditures were at about 50% max. And so typically with federal grants, what you want, and with all of your budgets, you want to spend 75% of your total award by December, no later than January, to show that you are investing all your dollars into students. And so that was not the case last year. Again, I can't speak for last year, but we made sure that during the summer and into the early fall, we spent as much money as possible. We cannot do drawdowns until October the 26th to see what percentage of these monies will carry over into the new year. It will carry over. We will not lose any money. It's just, it can raise a flag that we're not spending enough funds on students in a regular fiscal year.
So in 1920, how much was not spent?
Overall, it depends on the different federal grants. So if you look at, not including ESSER, because that was an award. So Title I Part A, which is district-wide for us, $109,155 were not spent. Title I Part C, these are for migrants, and this is a population where you want to spend every single dollar. $134,000 were not spent. Idea B, this is special ed, they left $35,000 on the table. In 2021, Title I Part A, this is what's the alarming number. That's almost half a million, almost half a million on the table that were not spent as of then. Correct.
Wow.
Million.
Yes.
And we can still spend it?
We can still spend it. We did a really good job of spending. We put the principals under a lot of pressure to spend as much as they could. This is not a principal issue either, because they did not know that they had this money. The directors didn't know that they did not have the money.
Who's responsible for this?
I'm responsible for 21, 22.
I'm just saying, I mean, this is a complete disservice to the students.
Correct. Yes.
They don't deserve this one.
Correct. And that is why the financial consultant, when we did drawdowns, which I was not authorized to do, only the superintendent is authorized to do it. So now that I'm in this position, we can do drawdowns.
So do we have to give anything back?
At this point, no.
We gotta spend. We're gonna find out after.
No. When we do drawdowns on the 26th, we'll find out what percent of old budgets are going to roll into new budget. So this is what Region 20 is doing for us also, is part of payroll, part of expenditures is Region 20 right now, and I've already explained this to the principals and to the directors as well, they're not letting us touch current year, 21, 22, we already have this money. They're not letting us touch it because they want us to spend year one, which is last year, and year zero, which is 2020, so that the federal government won't come back and take money away from us like they did with the ESSER, which is the next item on the agenda. So we're trying to spend as much as we can out of old money, but it will carry over into this year.
But we're not spending, well, I mean, spend it just because we need to spend it.
Oh, no, it has to match the goals and objectives that you just approved.
The other thing on the board brief that you send us, it says, I think year one, 2020, 2021 funds need to be spent by September the 30, 2001, and expenditures paid by October 30, so we're okay with that?
Yes, we're on target. We are on target for that.
And then Mr. Cepeda recommended that, because it might be a red flag, to bring it to the board, which we're doing right now. Right?
He says that money, the amount of money that was left on the table for the last two fiscal periods needs to be looked at by the board. Because you all need to know as well how the campuses and how the district is spending the money and what percent of it is being spent. So what we did is we're meeting with the principals on Friday to do a budget 101. Now the budgets have opened, to teach the principals, because they're all new. Almost all of them are new, to teach them how to look at their budgets, how to read their budgets, and what percent of the budget needs to be encumbered on a monthly basis, which is 10% of their total appropriation out of any account.
That's 910,000
Yes, sir.
from the last couple of years.
By Surface Pros to all students. Wow.
We already did.
Ms. Veronia,
Yes, sir.
the last question on this, I know, Mr. Ramirez was the one that recommended that we hire, Florencio Cepeda.
Correct.
How long are we gonna use him?
I would use him, Mr. Espinosa, until I get, like, when I feel like 100%
And then,
out of federal, that I can do this on my own, then
but
we'll move
now you
on.
need him.
Right now I do.
Okay.
Because I'm juggling different positions.
Different hats. All right, any other questions on this? All right, the next one, please.
ESER,
One last one, and on the back page, the back side of that page,
there's more money.
huh?
There's more money on the back.
Oh, I mean, I was concerned about the ESER 2 and 3, should have spent.
Yes, ESER 2 and 3 have not, ESER 2 ESER 2, what we did with ESER 2 last year in the summer, because we were awarded in the summer, that money, we've already spent almost all of it out of ESER 2. $2 million were reclassified under Mr. Ramirez, and those were the $2 million that went into general fund as unrestricted funds that Mr. Ramirez talked to you all about. So those top 2 million are gone. The 60,000 we're fixing to release to the principals. The 75,000 in supplies and materials, almost all of that is gone because we advanced the funds to the campuses so that every student could have supplies and materials. So almost all of that 75 is gone. We are working with the 1,150,000, which is where we think the federal government is going to come take the 1.7 that we lost.
I take it from there?
Right, so we're that money's in reserve for that.
Okay, all right.
So, but all of ESER 2 is almost all
About
expended.
ESER 3?
ESER 3, we're just going to open.
So on the next one, which is, the ESER 2, that,
Moving on, okay,
Yeah, go ahead, start that one.
it was a reduction related to the poor attendance. I mean,
correct.
it was the attendance of the student.
Correct.
That's not gonna affect us, I mean, losing that amount of money.
It's not going to affect us because what the federal government is going to do is they're going to take money that was awarded to us under ESER. They're going to take the 1.7, almost 1.8 million out of ESER 2 funds that we've already kind of reserved to pay for the fact that we were not able to hold attendance harmless last year. And that's either in in-person attendance or remote attendance. Our attendance percentages were very, very low, and so we were not able to generate ADA, and that's where we get the local funding. So the local budgets are the ones that are being affected. And so what ESER is going to do is they're going to come in and they're going to come supplant the local funds. So local is not going to lose any money. The campuses are not going to lose any money. The district will not lose any money. We're just going to take money that was already awarded through a federal grant and supplant it into state and local funds.
And has this lady or guy or Russell or whatever met with the campus principals?
Kish Russell, she did. She met with the teams last week to do a needs assessment. But this on ADA is strictly TA.
Good.
All right, the next one, please.
T-Class is another award that we applied for. And so what this is, we call it T-Class, but it's called the Texas COVID Learning Acceleration Support. And so what it is, it's money that the federal government has put out there for districts to utilize to improve very specific components of school organization, being either in strategic planning, in instructional materials, in creating teacher pipelines, in adding more time to the school day, or to create innovative school models. And so we applied for 6 different decisions, and we were awarded only for 4. And so right now we've been awarded for accelerated learning strategic planning, which has been an ongoing conversation with the principals. We were awarded for teacher pipelines, for teacher recruitment support, which we discussed last week with principals as well.
Spend it all.
Which is similar.
Area, we need to.
We already have the candidates for that very specific. As a matter of fact, we have more candidates than we can afford for decision 4. And so today we talked about the school day and the calendar redesign. So as far as T-class is concerned, I don't see an issue with decision 1 or decision 4 or decision 6 for tutoring. The conversation is going to be decision 7, because what it will do for grades pre-K 5 is to increase the calendar day from 180 school days to 210 school days. And so for this particular decision, the state awarded us 1.6 million to consider all of that. That requires a little bit of teacher buy-in because you are extending their school year to 210 days, therefore taking away some of their summer vacation. And so it's a different mindset. And so we've asked the principals to meet with their campuses, present a decision 7. If it's something that the district is not ready to commit, then we won't commit. Again, it'll only impact pre-K 5.
What about in this same one, provide teacher recruitment support, including assistance paraprofessionals who are seeking certification that we get?
That is decision 4. And for that one, we also have about 1.6, I believe. And so for this one, we're 100% for it. We already have the candidates for it. The only component of decision 4 that we still need to finalize with Ms. Ravasso is a number of teachers that want to be certified as dual credit teachers. This decision will pay for that.
What about, paraprofessionals that are to school and trying to become teachers? Have you identified any of the ones that are working with the district right now?
Correct, sir. So right now, this very specific decision will pay for up to 6 paraprofessionals, and right now we have 13. So so Ms. Garcia and I have to go back and look at the local grow your own, because what we're proposing, and we'll have to bring it to you in November, is to model the local grow your own, model it after the state program, so that we can turn around and pick up the other paras that we won't be able to afford under T-class.
That was gonna be my question, and can we, this program or this money will not preclude us from getting monies from other areas to put into there so we can increase the amount of?
Correct. We can apply for a different grant that is just grow your own and use it to supplement the decision. Yeah, the federal government is putting a lot of money out there, and the only thing that it's always caveats federal money is there's accountability that goes with it.
And that we spend it.
And that we spend it, that we use it wisely, that we monitor for fidelity, and that it gives us the outcomes that we had intended.
Nope.
Cool. All right, moving on, informational only items. Superintendent report, district enrollment, ADA, go ahead.
So our attendance is not so hot, and so we've had this conversation with principals. We are currently at around 92%. We need to increase it to 95%, but hopefully the goal is 94% by the end of the first semester. We are beginning truancy courts, which is, we're on schedule for that already. So hopefully through the judicial system, we'll be able to bring some of these students in. So right now we are at 92%.
90 what?
92%.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah, we're good with that.
Just go down the list.
Oh, Zavala County Appraisal District report, if anybody has any questions, and I don't know that you all would like somebody from the appraisal district to come and present. But if you don't have any questions, I'll move on to business office reports. You will find all the portfolio holdings right now. I'll point to the general fund. Right now, we are sitting at about 10,556,295 in fund balance. Your food and nutrition program, we are right where we are supposed to be. We just submitted our new application for the new school year. Police department reports. We have one assistance from the sheriff's department. 2 from the Crystal City PD, and 1 from Housing Authority. These are on truancy issues, some of them. Police Department conference with about 12 students and with 2 sets of parents. And on the opposite page, you see all of the different reporting that Chief Segura provided.
Ma'am, on the, I think it's been brought up before, on the cafeteria report, is there any way that they can make it darker, the print?
I'll let them know.
Jesus Christ, I have to retrain my vision.
Yes, sir, I will. They probably need a new printer.
And there is a couple of police in this, there was an internal investigation with the, our campus policeman.
Yes, sir.
Can you send us something in writing as well?
The findings?
The outcome,
Yes, sir.
what happened? Because I saw in the newspaper that now we need we're advertising for another police, and people are asking me what happened or what.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know, so maybe just send this to the board and say what happened or.
Yes, Mrs. Garcia did conduct an internal audit of the CISD Police Department, and we will provide you the findings in November. Band Booster Club financial statement. Any questions there? We move on to athletic and to legal fees. No questions, Mr. Garcia?
All right, item 10, closed session. The Board of Trustees will meet in closed session as authorized under the Texas Government Code 501.074, personal matters of the Open Meetings Act. Time is